Okay.
Albert Einstein wrote, "There are only two ways to live your life. One is though nothing is a miracle. The other is though everything is a miracle." As we light our chalice this morning, we remember those words and know the flame is holy, the hands which light it holy, the chalice holy. You are holy. We are holy.
Good morning and welcome. I'm Reverend Amy Petrie Shaw, and I'm speaking to you this morning from land which is the traditional territory of the indigenous Iowa people. Whenever you hear a land acknowledgement, please consider donating at least $1 to programs and services created by or supporting local indigenous people. My pronouns are they, them, theirs. We ask that you keep your mics muted during the entire service. At the end of the service, you're welcome to turn on your mics, turn on your cameras, and join us in Coffee Hour Breakout. Today we're talking about the holy and the sacred, and these words are an excerpt or section from Clear the Way, a Lakota ghost dance song. Clear the way, in a sacred manner I come. The earth is mine, hence in a sacred manner I come. Clear the way, in a sacred manner I come. You've all managed to make it here today, whether here is your TV screen, your computer screen, or sitting in the watch party. And the way that you got here is sacred. Whether it was peacefully, sipping at something nice, listening to your favorite song on NPR, in a car filled with screaming people, all trying to find the Lego that dropped between the seats, or even if you just rolled out of bed and are sitting there in your pajamas, you came here in a sacred manner. You are filled with the grandeur of the divine, shining with the holy. You are enough, and you are welcome. Look around your screen, look around the auditorium, and see who has also come here in their own sacred ways. And let us celebrate together.
Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Des Moines. I'm Heidi Levine. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and it is my joy to be serving as celebrant this morning. No matter who you are or where you have come from, you are welcome here, whether or not you live in Des Moines or have ever physically been at First Unitarian. Whoever you are, we hope that here you find thoughts which challenge you, welcome which invites you into community, and people to accompany you as your journey. Our gathering song this morning is number 395, Sing and Rejoice. The words will be on the screen. Please keep your mics muted and sing along at home, and we will sing through it 3 times.
Sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice. Let all things living now sing and rejoice. Sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice. Let all things living now sing and rejoice. Sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice. Let all things living now sing and rejoice.
Thank you so much, Bruce and Barb. Those of you at home or in the auditorium are going to notice a few changes to the service today as we begin to move toward being more inclusive of our children and youth and having them with us more in the service. And as a part of that, we're about to do the Children's Chapel sermon, which replaces listening to a story on most weeks. So this piece is for all of you sitting there who are 12 and under, wondering what the heck is going on here today. Today, we're talking about things that are holy or sacred, and holy and sacred mean sort of the same thing. But what do they mean? Holy or sacred means dedicated to a religious purpose or morally and spiritually excellent. Well, you know what? That still sounds like a bunch of big words. So let me try again a little more clearly. A person or place or thing is holy or sacred when it makes you want to be the best you can be. A holy person or place or thing is something that when you see it or touch it or read it or meet them, It reminds you of all the good in the world, and it makes you want to be the best possible person so that you bring more good to the world. All kinds of things can be holy or sacred. In fact, almost anything can be holy if we want it to be. If we say in our minds, I want to be in the world looking for things that remind me to be the best me I can be, then we can find holiness in anything. I want to be able, no matter what happens, to find some way to learn something that makes me a better me. So, what about bad or sad things that happen? Or when we meet a terribly mean or awful person, are they holy too? Can they be? Well, yeah. Bad and sad and mean things can happen, but they can still help us want to be the best we can be. If we're looking for chances to be better and kinder and wiser, which means using our smarts in good ways, if we want to be braver and more thoughtful, even a bad, sad, or mean thing can remind us we don't want to be bad, sad, or mean, and we don't want to deliberately hurt others by things that we do. So are some things more holy or sacred than others? Well, they can be. Some things are people really, really, really make you feel like being a better person just by meeting them or seeing them. And some things in people you may not like much, and you may really have to try hard to find something about them or the situation that helps you be the best you can be. That's okay. Only you get to say what is holy for you and how holy it is. Holy and the word whole, like a whole pie or a whole lot of something, they actually come from the same idea. Something that is holy makes you feel whole, like everything is working together for the best. Thank you all for listening to my words this morning. Every week we do an offering, and it's how we put together some of the money that we use to support our internal and external social justice work, the good things we do in the world. And every week I tell a joke with our offering because giving money shouldn't hurt. So here is this week's joke. An RE teacher asked her eager 10-year-olds if they would give $1 million to help the church. Yes, 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 they all screamed. Would you give $1,000? Oh, yes, yes, they all screamed. How about 100? Everyone said, yes, yes, we would give you $100. Would you give $1? The RE teacher said. The boys all said, yes, 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 all except for one. Little Johnny sat there quietly, sort of holding his pocket. Johnny, said the teacher, why didn't you say yes this time? Well, Johnny stammered, I actually have $1. Now, I'm sure that each and every one of you sitting there would love to give the church $1 million. And so the morning offering will now be given and received through a link in the chat. 1/2 of this offering goes to the internal social justice work of the church, and 1/2 goes to celebrate the work of our partners, which right now are Knock and Drop and Just Voices. So I'm going to put the link in the chat. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Deb McClurkin. I am the Director of Faith Formation, and we're going to do our meditation. So I want you to sit comfortably in your chair or on the floor, whatever suits you. Put your hands on your lap or your knees and sit up nice and tall. You can focus with your eyes out in front of you, or you can close your eyes. But it's important to find that breath moving in your body by taking a breath in through your nose and then slowly breathing out through your mouth. Now, when you breathe in, feel your muscles tighten. And when you breathe out, feel yourself relax. Breathe in, tighten those muscles. And breathe out and relax. If your eyes aren't closed, you can close them now. Slowly count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And breathe.
Thank you so much, Devin. A church is not a building. A church is a community. A church is a place where we come together as human beings to share our laughter and our tears, and to be there with one another when we struggle with life's sorrows and celebrate life's joys. May we hold in our thoughts and our prayers this week anyone who needs a little extra love and concern. I ask now that we share together the names of anyone who could use that special care and attention this week. As we type their names into the chat, may the love of this community hold them all. May the light of our community shine on the broken places of the world. May the work of our hands and our hearts support and aid and comfort everyone who hungers for or thirsts for food or water, for justice or freedom. May we never look away when we're needed. May those who are grieving be comforted. May you be comforted. May those who are tired find rest. May you find rest. May the broken places be healed. May you be healed. And may those who are filled with joy and laughter be abundant. Every week together, we light 3 real or virtual candles, one for the joys and sorrows we've shared, one for any names that we've written, and one last candle for all of those joys and all of those sorrows which are deeply held, but which we haven't been able to say aloud here today.
Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul.
Once the heart does open up, it is easier for the eyes to open, for us to see that there is beauty, there's wholeness, there's sacredness present, even at the worst of times. In her poem, May I Suggest, Susan Werner writes, may I suggest to you, may I suggest this is the best part of your life. May I suggest this time is blessed for you. This time is blessed and shining and almost blinding bright. Just turn your head and you will begin to see the 1,000 reasons that were just beyond your sight. The reasons why I suggest to you, why I suggest this is the best part of your life. There is a world that's been addressed to you, intended only for your eyes. A secret world like a treasure chest to you of private scenes and brilliant dreams that mesmerize. A lover's trusting smile, a tiny baby's hands, the million stars that fill the turning sky at night. Oh, I suggest to you, I suggest this is the best part of your life. There is a hope that's been expressed in you, the hope of 7 generations, maybe more, and this is the faith that they invest in you. It's that you'll do one better than was done before. Inside, you know. Inside, you understand. Inside, you know what's yours to finally set right. And I suggest to you, and I suggest this is the best part of your life. This is a song, comes from the West to you, comes from the West, comes from the slowly setting sun with a request of you to see how very short the endless days will run. And when they're gone, and when the dark descends, oh, we'd give anything for one more hour of light. And I suggest this is the best part of your life. Our second reading today is excerpted from Footnote to Howl by Allen Ginsberg. This is not a quiet meditation. This was intended as the antithesis to quiet meditation. Holy, 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 holy. Everything is holy. Everybody's holy. Everywhere is holy. Every day is an eternity. Every man's an angel. The bum's as holy as the seraphim. The madman is holy as you. My soul are holy. The typewriter is holy. The poem is holy. The voice is holy. The hearers are holy. The ecstasy is holy. Holy, the hideous human animals. Holy, the groaning saxophone. Holy, the bop apocalypse. Holy, the jazz bands, marijuana hipsters, payout pipes and drums. Holy, the solitudes of skyscrapers and pavements. Holy, the cafeterias filled with the millions. Holy, the mysterious rivers of tears under the streets. Holy, the lone juggernaut. Holy, the vast lamb of the middle class. Holy, the crazy shepherds of the rebellion. Who digs Los Angeles is Los Angeles. Holy New York, holy San Francisco, holy Peoria and Seattle, holy Paris, holy Tangiers, holy Moscow, holy Istanbul, holy time and eternity, holy eternity in time, holy the clocks in space, holy the fourth dimension, holy the fifth international, holy the angel in Moloch, holy the sea, holy the desert, holy the railroad, holy the locomotive, holy the visions, holy the hallucinations, holy the miracles, holy the eyeball, holy the abyss, holy forgiveness, mercy, charity, faith, holy hours, bodies, suffering, magnanimity, holy the supernatural, extra brilliant, intelligent kindness of the soul. And holy is this moment where we are here together singing. Holy are you, whether you stand or sit or lie on the floor or do something else entirely. Holy as we sing number 352, Find a Stillness. The words will be on the screen. Please keep your mics muted.
And I'd like you to know that that music by Bach was brought to you by Dana Slaughter, who is working at Drake University now in the music department. Thank you.
Find a stillness, hold a stillness, let the stillness carry me. Find the silence, hold the silence, let the silence carry me. In the spirit, by the spirit, with the spirit giving power, I will find true harmony. Seek the essence, hold the essence, let the essence carry me. Let me flower, help me flower, watch me flower, carry me. In the spirit, by the spirit, with the spirit giving power, I will find
Thank you so much, Bruce and Barb. And thank you, Dana. I don't know how many of you have ever been in an old cathedral or an old synagogue or an old mosque. The churches built in the medieval period were designed to feel holy. So you walked in through the doors, and the architecture was all designed to pull your eyes upward. Stained glass windows made everything look otherworldly. In bright colors were the shadows that came in through those windows. It was something that most peasants had never seen that much color in their entire life. And the sun shining through that glass made it look like everything had been painted in a dream. Mosques did the same thing with tile. Synagogues did the same thing with stained glass. Some modern sacred buildings are built the same way. When you walk in, it feels otherworldly somehow. The air is hushed, the atmosphere is heavy. It just feels like you're somewhere special. Some forests have the same feel. Some mountains, some labyrinth spaces. It just feels like you are there with something sacred. So what's the holy, and how do you know that it's there? Holy means different things to different people, and for one person, the definition can change over the course of a life. For some people, that same medieval cathedral would feel echoey and empty, and the modern church would seem stuffy. Holy can't get pinned down. It's organic. It flows. If I absolutely had to put it into words, I would start by saying that holy is anything that makes you feel like you're in the presence of something to be revered or honored. Anything that makes you feel by seeing it, you're seeing something sublime in form or in nature. When you see a thing or a person that makes you work to be a better person yourself just by being exposed to it, you are in the presence of the holy. The holy changes you. It calls to you. The holy is about reverence. Holy is anything that affirms life. It's the things that remind us we're not doomed to death and despair, but we've been given one wild and fleeting and precious life to spend as we see fit. Now that's all a great start, but it's simple. It's almost as simple as the children's version I did at the start of the service. In his footnote to Howl, or his intro to Howl, excuse me, which we read this morning in part, Allen Ginsberg shouts that everything is holy, and not just holy, but equally holy. The beggar, the angel, the musician, the demon, the cities, mercy, charity, working, slacking, everything is holy. He says these things are holy because they exist. And that can cause some problems for most of us. It's like, uh-oh, wait a minute. You mean holy isn't extraordinary? It isn't some rare object worth veneration. It isn't what the churches have told me it should be. No, it isn't. It isn't just when we thought we had it down, that the holy might not be for us because it was something so rare and so sacred, so specialized. Ginsburg saying that everything should draw us to veneration. Everything should make us want to be better. All of it, the good, the bad, the ugly, the stained. He agrees with my simple definition of holy, but says that if we're not drawn to reverence and transformation by everything we see, then the problem is we're not looking. Some of you may have heard Peter Mayer's song, Holy Now. In it, he says, wine from water is not so small, but an even better magic trick is that anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. That sounds good theoretically. It sounds amazingly Unitarian Universalist. But what about in practice? In practice, it gets a little more challenging. I started to think about the worst things I could think of. First the bad and then the terrible. And at first I thought I had an argument. Car accidents just don't feel holy. The Holocaust certainly was not sacred. So I started to turn to history to see how our Unitarian ancestors looked at this. William Ellery Channing was a Unitarian minister in 1828. He preached a sermon, a big one, called On the Nature of God. He had an interesting idea. He said that we discover the divine by looking at ourselves, at our own soul, if you will. He wrote, the idea of God, sublime and awful as it is the idea of our own spiritual nature purified and enlarged to infinity, not an outward construct, not some kind of distant perfect creature. Humanity is God. Humanity at its best, written large. That's the holy part. It wasn't about seeing what the divine did in the world. Channing wrote, the universe I know is full of God. The effects and signs of God's power, wisdom, and goodness are apparent throughout the whole creation, but apparent to what? Not to the outward eye, but to a kindred mind which interprets the universe by itself. We see God around us because it dwells within us. It is by a kindred wisdom that we discern his wisdom in his works. Now that's something to think about. God isn't out there. God may not even be a thing. God probably isn't a thing for Channing. God is us written large. The holy is us written large. Channing and Ginsburg agree that holiness is everywhere, but not because it's all good by nature. We see holiness because we are ourselves holy, because we are reflecting what we call the divine in our perceptions. I thought about this and I thought about it some more. Now, I don't know how many of you remember the first time, the very first time, that you drove somewhere alone. I remember getting in the car and turning on the radio, and the way the city unwound all around me as I went by it. I remember how the air smelled on the country roads and what the light looked like coming in through the windshield. To 16-year-old me, it looked a lot like the light through a cathedral window. That 1978 Monte Carlo felt holy in that moment. It was suddenly my church. Maybe you were never born again in a Monte Carlo. Maybe it was a Volkswagen bus. Maybe you didn't get any Volkswagen salvation. Maybe for you, that stained glass showed up the first time you ordered a plate of sushi. And it was absolutely magnificent and perfect. Maybe it was when you saw your first mountain or held your first child. The what doesn't matter. It was you that brought the divine to the moment. So I thought about the Holocaust again. In 1946, a Jewish writer, Zevi Kolitz, wrote a piece called Yoshi Rankoff Talks to God. Everett Howe writes, Kolitz's story is in the form of an imaginary note hidden in a bottle and found in the rubble of the Warsaw Ghetto. And Kolitz's imaginary note is written by a Jew who fought fiercely with his comrades against the Nazis who were destroying the ghetto. Kolitz's narrator tells all of his friends and his family, tells of all his friends and family dying. He tells of the Germans he's killed. He tells of how he himself will soon be killed. And he does talk of his belief of God, but more he tells of his argument with God, of his complaint with a God who would permit such destruction. But the part that I liked was that in Kolitz's story, belief in God is not the point. For that narrator, the holy lies in his community identity as a Jew, in the traditions, in the history of his faith. I love God, he says, but I love God's Torah more. He found the sacred, even in the middle of horror, in the continuity of community. And that's really important to us right in this minute. He found the sacred in the history of his people, in the fact that there was some kind of order he could at least understand and argue with. Sometimes holiness is just a silver thread in the darkness. At the end of the story, Kolitz's hero, Yoshi Rankoff, says tiredly, I die at peace but not pacified, conquered and beaten but not enslaved, bitter but not disappointed, a believer but not a supplicant, a lover of God but not his blind amen sayer. Holiness is the ability to become more whole than you are right now. Holiness is agency. Holiness is seeing the ugly and still having faith in the hope of a future. Holiness is seeing that the sacred remains even when it isn't visible right now. Holiness is being furious that the highest order of things, the divine spirit of life or humanity, is allowing something terrible to be, but still believing that we are called by our nature to the upward, the positive, and the good. It's a message we need to find this week as we watch the news each day, because the sacred can seem pretty invisible right at the moment. So how do you know? How do you know what's sacred when things are difficult? How do you know when the holy is all around you, when you're not surrounded by beautiful forests or gorgeous mountains, architecture that makes you swoon? How do you feel surrounded by the holy and the sacred? How do you feel holy and sacred when you're sitting at a cubicle job or looking out the window at an ugly day? Holiness isn't outside. It's something you carry with you and you bring to the world. The divine is our nature purified and taken enlarged to infinity. We are the holiness. We are the wall that protects against oblivion by the darkness. We are here, and so the holy is here. There's no outside holiness required. And we have a job to do. We have one job to do. We have to bring that holiness to anyone surrounded by a void of hopelessness. We have to bring it to everyone who's lost hope. There's hope because our human hands hold it. We want a world with justice, so we are going to create one, and it will be holy. We want a world with beauty, so we are going to protect it and make it holy. We want a world with love, so we are going to love one another, and that love is holy. We want a world at peace, so we're going to rise up and hold on until that peace is found, and we'll make it holy. We want hope, so we're going to start hoping, and we're not going to let that hope die. We're never turning back. We're not going to let the void win, because we exist. The holy and the sacred are here. Where we are is their home. And it's our job to make the world our church and justice our hymn, because the holy is our human birthright. And we are the answer we've been looking for. So open up the stained glass windows that are your eyes and your mind, because everything is holy now. Amen.
We extinguish our chalice today with words written on a wall in Cologne by Jews being hidden by young Catholics during the Holocaust. I believe in the sun, even when it is not shining. I believe in God, even when he is silent. I believe in love, even when it is not apparent. Our final song today is 1014, Answering the Call of Love. The words will be on the screen. Please keep your mics muted and sing along as you wish.
The promise of the Spirit, faith, hope, and love abide, and so every soul is blessed and made whole. The truth in our hearts is our guide. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one, emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. Sometimes we build a barrier to keep love tightly bound, corrupted by fear, unwilling to hear, denying the beauty we found. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one, emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. A bright new day is dawning, when love will not deny. Reflections of grace in every embrace, fulfilling the vision divine. We are answering the call of love. Hands joined together as hearts beat as one, emboldened by faith, we dare to proclaim we are answering the call of love. Answering the call of love.
We go out today with words from Friedrich Buchner. Listen to your life. See it for the fathomless mystery it is, in the boredom and pain of it, no less than in the excitement and gladness. Touch and taste and smell your way to the holy and hidden heart of it, because in the last analysis, all moments are key moments, and life itself is grace. Peace, ashe, and may it be so.